guys?
Howdy, brothers.
Welcome back to another motherfucking season.
We're back and we're better.
What season is this? 11?
Dude.
12?
Fuck,
30?
30.
At this point?
I feel like I've aged.
50?
I feel like I've aged
How
6
old are
years.
we? Anyways, you guys, we are back and at it for another season of Whiskey and Water podcast.
I already know y'all doubted us. I already know y'all thought we weren't coming back, and you were almost right.
We're proving the haters wrong.
No, of course. We really just needed a quick little mental health break.
Not gonna lie, it was so nice.
It was. It's like when people like post on their story and they're like, I need to take a break.
And they like get off socials for
like
a day.
24 hours.
And then they're like, I'm back.
That was really needed for my mental health.
It was refreshing.
Oh my God, you guys should all take a break from socials.
Anyways, we are back and we're ready for a kick-ass fucking season.
Yes. To keep you guys posted on what this season's rhythm is gonna be like, we're doing half guest. That's the rhythm. Get into it. Okay, so we're gonna do half guest, half solo episodes because last season we did solo episodes, which we loved so much,
and y'all loved it.
Y'all loved it. I know y'all loved it.
Y'all loved it.
But that shit's hard.
It was
gonna
really
be transparent.
hard.
It's so much easier to have a guest on
because think about it, it's like way less talking.
Yeah, and it's so much nicer to like connect with people,
and it's refreshing. Like I'm tired of talking to this bitch. We talk to each other every day, all day.
I've seen these TikToks recently, and it's like them and their friend at lunch, and it's like, so because you've already talked about fucking
that's
everything.
us in the car. Sometimes we're just silent.
Not a damn thing to talk about. But it's going to be really nice to have guests on this season. And today we have on such an amazing guest.
Lovely.
We have on Miss Rosie Johnston. She owns By Rosie Jane, which is a clean beauty company for cool humans.
Yeah,
Their words, not mine.
She is a founder, a CEO. Her products are in Nordstrom's, Anthropologie, Sephora, like the best of the best. She's been in business for so long now, and she is just so inspiring and truly one of the like most lovely guests we've had. I feel like lovely is the word to describe her.
Yeah,
she's just a lovely human.
Yes. And you know what? I feel like that pairs so well with like her star products
her
now.
Products.
Which
they're
is like
lovely products.
They're lovely products. She's about to launch her 8th perfume, and she just launched an incredible deodorant that won the Best of Beauty Allure Award, which is so incredible.
It's such a high level honor for a beauty product to win that award is just like wow,
huge, massive,
huge.
So I'm really excited for you guys to hear more about Rosie and By Rosie Jane through this episode.
We did receive some products. We have not tried it yet. I'm so excited to try. I honestly have seen this brand for years, and it's just like such a full circle moment that we have the founder on. She is such a humble queen, and we really get into what her journey looked like, how she started. And like actually one of my most favorite parts of the episode is how we were saying how we have this vision of our dream career and we think it's so far-fetched, and I think she is such great proof that like anything is achievable, anything is attainable. She still deals with imposter syndrome, and it's like, you're in Sephora, how are you still dealing with imposter syndrome?
Yeah, and she's still growing every day. I mean, even in our interview she was like, oh yeah, like we're moving from this facility into an even larger one. So it's just crazy, and she really is such a humble queen. And
yeah,
we think you guys are gonna love this episode. But before we get into all of that, we of course have to do our little catch up. Squirt. And we are also going to bring back pro tip this season, which we are so excited about.
The OG brothers know pro tip. It's been quite a few seasons since we did pro tip.
Yeah, and we always loved pro tip.
We loved it. You guys loved it. We're gonna keep it, and I honestly think we should just keep pro tip open to business, life, personal relationships.
Whatever we're going through.
Let's just keep it open this season.
I'm down.
I'm feeling open.
Okay,
so before we get into our catch up squirt, we're gonna do our pro tip so that we don't forget.
Because you guys know we are so bad at it.
We stayed forgetting pro tips. Okay, so no, we're gonna knock it out firstly in the episode. Here we go. So my pro tip, and this might be common knowledge for some of you who are tech savvy, iPhone savvy, content creator savvy, whatever, but I run into a lot of people who are like, oh my God, I had no idea you could do that. And it's not just for the content creator. This is for the everyday person and gal, since we all love taking photos on our phones. People don't know that you can tap and drag down to lower the exposure on a photo. And if you're wondering how, you know, I get this dark, moody, clean aesthetic for my Instagram stories and how a lot of other girls do it too with videos as well, that is how we do it. You click on the screen and you drag it down and it brings the exposure down. And like I said, you don't even have to be a content creator to benefit from that tip. Like I show my friends that from high school and they're like, oh, that's so, like Brooke, we were just at dinner the other night and she's like, oh, that's so cool. That's so smart. I didn't know I could do that.
Yeah, so many people have no idea.
So yeah, that will make your photos look better and your videos look better. So bring that exposure down, ladies and gents.
And don't, like, also for just piggybacking off of that, when you go to Zoom, make sure that you click the second Zoom button that's like, because it gives you 0.5, it gives you 1, and then depending on the phone, it either gives you 2.5 or it gives you 3. If you click on those, that's going to give you the best quality instead of like pinching to zoom in, because when you hit the zoomed in buttons, it's usually that's why you have 3 cameras, right?
It's like
those
switching,
are the 3 different cameras.
Yeah,
it switches cameras
to the other camera.
So that's just another little pro tip.
Yeah, that's how I get all my really clean, crisp.
Because sometimes when you zoom in, it looks like grainy as fuck.
And you might have to like pull the camera. Honestly, we should do a whole episode on content creation tips.
On iPhoneography.
I mean, I'm literally a short form iPhone video specialist.
That's the title we gave her at Mood.
I'm an iPhone videographer, but no, seriously. If you want that episode, let us know and we'll make it for you guys because there are a lot of tips.
Yeah, let us know.
What is your pro tip?
Mine is unrelated to content. However, I think it's important because this is a cause that I'm really passionate about.
Oh God!
What?
Dumbass shit.
Dumbass shit, guys. I traveled to Austin this past weekend.
She's like, make sure you pee before you get on the plane.
Shut the fuck up.
So you don't poop your pants.
And I didn't want to bring a fucking carry-on, or I didn't want to check a bag because I was like, it's just for the weekend. Let me be low maintenance, right? So I'm like, okay, perfect. Let me pack up my little fucking duffel, right? I pack up the duffel. Guys, I was sweating.
0 out of 10.
I was sweating walking through the airport. My shoulder blades are still sore from carrying the 50 pounds on each shoulder. Like,
you know what that is? That's bad for morale.
That is, oh my God. So like, imagine you're wearing a sweater, you're a little bit hot, you're running a little bit late.
I'm literally sweating thinking about it.
Oh, guys. So my pro tip here is don't use the fucking duffel. And if you do, make sure it has wheels, dude, so you can wheel that shit.
That's not a duffel. No duffel has wheels.
Yeah, they do sometimes. Huh. Yeah, there's like duffels that have like wheels and a little retractable thing. And my duffel bag is great.
Yeah.
And it was convenient.
It's like good on paper.
Yeah.
In theory.
But then, and I was like, hey, yeah, I'm being low maintenance. And then all of a sudden.
You're like, I'm a high maintenance bitch because I don't want to hold that.
I was like, should have checked. I would have rather had waited for my bag. So that's my pro tip. If you're trying to be low maintenance and
just
pack light, or just take like the small carry-on. Like, because I also had the suitcase option. But I was like, no, a duffel, sporty, quick.
Sporty, cute.
She's cute. Like, she's that girl carrying around just a duffel. What? Who is she?
Makes it a personality trait.
Yeah, right? So, whatever. Looks really cute, but that shit fucking sucks.
It don't feel too cute.
No.
When you're sweating.
Oh my God, dude, spitzing. I'm like, I do not look like that girl right now. I look tussled and sweaty.
And distraught.
Yeah, like people like, guys, I had to take breaks. Like on my walks to the gates, I'd have to like stop for like a couple minutes. And I was like running late. It hurt so bad.
Horrible.
But yeah, anyway, that's my pro tip.
Okay, let's catch up on our lives thus far since our drop-in episode, which if you missed that, I don't know if you did, but maybe some people did, considering this is our season premiere. We did do a drop-in episode like 2 weeks ago now.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want a little longer catch-up, you can go on over to that and take a listen. Other than that, I went to Alaska, y'all. Super fun, super flirty, super fresh. Definitely like a once-in-a-lifetime trip. Saw things that were absolutely incredible, mind-blowing. Will I ever get on a cruise again? Probably not, unless it's like a 3-day cruise to the Bahamas. Yeah.
It takes like an hour to get to the Bahamas.
Just not, I mean, it's an Alaskan cruise. I don't know why I didn't think about it before, but it was just like all a bunch of really old people, and it just wasn't like the vibe. Honestly, our first excursion, we got lucky and we were with such a cool group. It was like this little family and they took us in and they were young and they were hip and we were cracking jokes. And then it just like set the bar really high.
You just went down from there.
It really did. It set the bar high. All the other excursions were like with a bunch of fucking old people who are just like not laughing at our jokes. They're making jokes that aren't fucking landing, not funny.
God.
And we're like, okay, let's get out of this minivan, please. So, but other than that, really cool experience. I did do like a little honest review on my Instagram stories. It's in my highlight. I did get some amount of questions about the cruise and like if I felt like it was worth it, what excursions I did. So you can find that in my Alaska highlight.
Yeah, and I feel like it's a really good family trip.
It is. It's a great family trip.
But like, listen, if you and your man are looking for a fucking romantic trip, don't go to fucking Alaska.
I mean, go, but maybe not on a cruise. You just spend I just feel like the amount of time you spend on the boat, like I would have rather spent in Alaska.
Yeah, and it's just not as fun when it's not like a tropical cruise where you're all getting fucked up and laying out by the pool and it's like, but yeah. I mean, very cool. Glad I did it. No regrets. And we checked out Seattle, which was really cool. Went to the Pike Place Market, which is like legendary. So it was a cool experience. In Jessica world, I'm currently on day 9 of 75. My 75 hard challenge.
It's a book. It originated from a book.
Yeah.
When I looked it up, I was like, oh, it makes sense, like, as to why it's such a big thing.
Yeah, there's like an app and shit.
Yeah, super cool.
It's like this whole fucking thing.
It is.
But yeah, I'm currently doing 75 hard. Really loving it, honestly. It's really kind of like making me...
I think it's going to change your life.
Well,
I mean, I know that's a big
something's
statement.
Something's got to fucking change.
But I think it is one of those like kind of like pivotal moments in someone's life.
It's hard to see now because I'm only on day 9.
Yeah.
But I fucking hope so. I need a goddamn change. But I really have been enjoying the second outdoor workout that it makes you do because I just, wouldn't be getting out that often. Like, I'm not going to the beach at sunset every day for fucking shits and giggles, even though it's right there. And why wouldn't I?
Yeah.
Totally. I feel like we don't go out of our way to enjoy life enough. And this kind of forces me. And what I'm hoping it does is reinstills my inspiration to do these things because I want to and not because I necessarily have to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I've really been enjoying that. And I am excited. Like, I feel very like fit. Like, I feel like fit as fuck. I'm
fit as fuck, babe.
I feel like fucking shredded already. So really excited to kind of see what the physical changes are.
And then a part of the challenge is you have to take progress photos every day.
Yeah.
So I think that's really cool because nothing motivates you like a good progress photo.
Yeah. And I mean, I take photos of myself like every day anyway. So like that part isn't like huge for me. And I haven't even been keeping up with like the strict progress photo because at first I was taking them like same place, same like angle, which I am going to do whenever like I remember, but like to get that fucking photo 75, like I don't need that. I need like majority. Like I'll do like 50 of them,
Yeah.
And I've been taking like normal mirror selfies, so I don't know if that counts as like a progress pic, but I will have something to I did take it for the first few days, so I will have something to like reflect on after the 75. But yeah, that's been fun. And then to give you guys a little LA Airbnb apartment update.
Yes, update. Update the people.
I did find someone to rent it out for October and November. She's going to be staying there. She's super cute. She owns a swimwear line. So I'm very, very, very happy that it's rented out. And if you guys were unfamiliar with the situation that happened, I did get the LA Airbnb. Found out that I could not legally list it on Airbnb, which is not fun, flirty, fresh.
Not bad for morale.
Very bad for morale. And when I tell you guys I was down bad, I have been going through it. I've been going through it for the last few weeks /
trying
months.
to figure out how she's going to pay 2 rents.
So cute.
So fun.
But it's okay. We persevere.
Yeah. I mean, it's a step in a good direction,
Yeah. And as I've told everyone and as I carry with me, everything happens for a reason. Everything is fucking figure outable. This bitch is resilient. I will rise above.
Period.
So, yeah. So I'm really happy it's at least rented out for the next 2 months, and it gives me a little wiggle room to figure it out for the rest of the fucking lease.
Yeah.
So, anyways, but Olivia and I are in the very early stages of what we had told you guys that we were working on.
Yes, and we're so excited. We're really starting to work out the nitty-gritty details of it. And we
told them what it was, right?
Yes, of course.
So for those of you who are just now popping back in, didn't listen to the last, I think...
Catch up?
I don't know if we even told it in the catch up or if we said it in our last episode of the season.
No, we didn't.
No?
It was the catch up.
Okay.
Honda P. Hundo P.
Because of what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So we told you guys in the catch up. I honestly don't remember. I don't know when we said that. But anyways, if you missed that, we're doing a course. And we're very, very, very excited about it.
Yeah, and we think we talked about it at length in the catch up because I listened to that episode.
So funny.
Yeah. So
so kick us off. Tell me what I missed.
So yeah, we're starting a course. We feel like it is finally something that we're so inspired by and so excited about,
and feel okay, it's coming back to me because I'm like, I've said this. And really, we feel so confident in doing, and I'm going to repeat myself because now everything's coming back to me. But, we've never, ever, ever wanted to just put out a bullshit product because we know it'll sell or, we don't want to do something that's been done before or, that
feels
we don't.
Inauthentic or forced.
And, so many, how many people in our lives have said, why don't you start a bikini line?
Or like, why don't you guys make a course about podcasting, about modeling, about
being
Instagram?
An influencer?
So yeah, this thing finally came to us, and we will be sharing more when we feel like we're ready and when we have pretty much like a plan, a course of action. But it's just a little too early to share.
We have a tentative plan. And it's something that you can look out for in the next few months.
Yes. But we will be collecting emails. So I'll just give you guys like a little hint. It's basically involves the influencer creator economy. So we are working on a resource in regards to the creator economy and influencer industry. If you want to be a part of it, learn more.
Also, this is just as a disclaimer, this is not how to become an influencer.
Correct.
Just so you guys, because I feel like that would be everyone's first thoughts. Yeah. But we would never do something that basic.
But it's not that.
And and you'll never guess what it is.
But also, it could.
But it helps that. But it helps that.
Listen, we're still figuring out like how we want to really market this. But we are starting to collect emails to build out that list. So if you guys are interested in learning more, wanting to know more, just shoot one of us a DM. Our DMs are always open to the brothers. And this resource is going to be so good for you guys, and you're going to eat it up. So definitely shoot us your email if you want to know more. And we're going to start sending stuff out. We'll leave that at that. Let's move on to something fun we have going on over at Mood. We basically decided to do, and I don't remember if we said this in the catch-up episode, but we decided to do a TikTok challenge over on Mood's TikTok. It's been so fun to watch everyone's. Basically, the rules are we're requiring everyone on our team, there's 6 of us in total, I believe, and everyone has to post 1 TikTok a day, Monday through Friday, even if your job has nothing to do with TikTok. We are a social media agency. Anyone's job has to do a little bit with TikTok, but for example, our project manager, Taylor, that's not something she's usually tasked to do. And now we're like, create 5 TikToks a week. And the first place winner gets a pair of the new Air Max AirPod over-the-ear headphones. So we've made it fun. It's been really funny watching they're coming up with like really like out-of-pocket trends and text overlays. And it's been fun. It's not quite popping off the way we want it to. But that's like, that's a part of the experiment. That's a part of the test, seeing what does well, what flops, if the whole thing is going to flop, and what we can learn from that. So as fun of a challenge this also is for the agency to see like, okay, let's pump out 6 videos a day, Monday through Friday, and see what that can do. Yeah. If that's nothing, that's nothing. If that's a lot, it's a lot. Either way, we're going to learn something from it.
And you know what? It is really interesting, especially just from like a data standpoint. And again, seeing what performs well and what doesn't, and being able to use this information to better service our clients. So we're really excited. And if you guys want to go check those TikToks out, they're hilarious.
We would so appreciate it.
Yeah. Support me and Liv only so that we have better chances of winning the AirPods. Thank you very much.
The idea was to get some sort of community involved and invested and see like, oh, I wonder who's going to win, and like follow along for the journey. Is anyone there? Don't know. Don't know. But if you want to be that person, it will be good for morale.
Great for morale.
So go on and do that, brothers. We love you.
All right, guys. I think that you guys are really going to love this episode. If you guys have enjoyed this episode thus far, our fucking season opener, please, for the love of fucking God, take a screenshot, tag us on socials, tag us on your Instagram, tag Olivia, tag me so we can repost it. We would love the support, especially entering this new season.
And we always, if you tag us, we always repost you too, because we just like love love seeing it. So don't be scared.
At the very least, be a clout chaser. That's all. No, okay, I'm kidding, guys. I'm kidding. I love you guys so much. We're so happy to be back. And if you guys want to see anything this season, want to hear anything from us, you might have noticed we didn't do the deep dive because we felt we just want to try something different.
Redundant.
But if you guys want to hear more about collabs, more about socials, more about influencers,
maybe content creator tips.
Yeah, our DMs are open. We want to hear from you guys. And as always, we appreciate the support. And I hope you enjoy the episode. All right, guys, we are officially back at the Whiskey and Water table with Miss Rosie Jane, founder, CEO of By Rosie Jane. Thank you so much for joining us here today. We are so excited to have you back on this season.
Thank you so much for having me. I feel like anything that's called whiskey, anything with the word whiskey in it is like, I'm absolutely going there, want to talk about it.
Amazing.
It's my favorite thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, as our listeners know, Whiskey and Water, it's about a balance and, you know, just the culmination of our journeys, really. So that being said, we would love to hear about your journey and kind of what your entrepreneurial journey has looked like and what's led you to where you are now. So I know that's a pretty long-winded, you know, situation there, but just give us your synopsis.
My 3-hour life story.
Yes.
Tell us your traumas.
Start spilling the beans.
Yes. So, I mean, I started Rosie Jane in 2010. I think by today's standards, my entrepreneurial journey is like old school compared to where I came from, but not today. Everything is very fast. So I started my very first company in 2004, and it was a cheek and lip gloss, and no one had done it. The cream bar, like cream blush that everyone does today, I was a makeup artist. So I really was like, I want to make something that I can put on the cheeks. I did a glossy version. It was like lip gloss, but for your cheeks. That was my first jump into the entrepreneurial world. And we got pretty far and we got a lot of press and everyone was like, what is this product? And then I realized that I didn't have any funding to actually describe to people how you used it. So then that was but it was this great beginning stages. That then rolled into in 2010, you know, the launch of my fragrance company, which is where I have grown from there. But it's been very organic and slow growth for me in a wonderful way. But I think today's standards, people are in and out in 5 years, get in, you know, ramp up, get massive investment and sell for some ridiculous amount of money.
Yeah, definitely. And I think everyone this day and age is always looking for these get rich quick, you know, sort of schemes and is looking for that instant gratification. So I would really love to know, you know, how you kind of kept your entrepreneurial spirit alive with the slow growth. And, you know, I know Olivia and I can relate to that pretty heavily because, you know, we were 3 years deep at the podcast. It's just very much still a passion project. And we, you know, it's something that we struggle with ourselves. So I would personally love any insight that you have on that.
Yeah. I mean, so for me, there's two factors. It's always this kind of what you think you want versus what you get and then survive and keep pushing through. So, you know, I think in what sounds like this great kind of amazing journey is to have someone come in and be like, great, we're going to fund you. Here's $1 million. Here's $10 million. But in the beginning, I could not get any money. No one would give me any money. I almost gave away like 20% of my company for like $5,000 or some ridiculous amount of money because I didn't have any. I wanted to do packaging for the fragrance. I couldn't afford it. I asked a friend, they said no. And I was like, dude, I will give you 20% of my company for like $2,000. It was some crazy number.
Wow.
Luckily, he was not as brilliant as I am. And he said no.
Exactly.
Right? So I was like, thank God.
Yeah.
But so it was sort of this, no one would give me money even though I thought that I needed it. And then as it turned out, I didn't need it. I really just became more crafty, more savvy at getting what I wanted in a more affordable way that I could do it. Mm-hmm. And what it has allowed me to do now as an entrepreneur is be that. You know, one of the reasons I started my own company is because I have a terrible authoritative complex. If anyone's telling me what to do immediately, my advice is nope, I'm not going to do it. Right. So
We can relate.
Yeah. And that's, I'm like, I got into this because I love working for myself, because I love the way business works. I love that. So that's what continues to drive me, is how much I love business and I love the challenge of it. But yeah, it definitely has its own challenges, but it was, in the end, now when I look at it, I'm like, I'm so glad I have not gone the investment route yet. And I'm not say that it's bad for anybody else, but for me personally, it is more about the growth and now the successes that I see. It's, I have this incredible team around me, and it's all us. We own it all. We don't have a board of people being like, what's coming out? When's this happening? We need this to happen, and I just never wanted that.
Yeah, that's actually so inspiring. And going back to what Jess said about just everyone wanting immediate gratification, even us, I do think it's a problem with our generation, is that we're so used to everything being so fast paced, whether it's getting food delivered to our front door or whether it's success and making money. I love that you have been in this, you have skin in the game. You've been at this for a while now. And I feel like it's really honoring to your own, you took it at your own pace, and you didn't rush yourself. And I think that's so inspiring and a good thing for us to keep in mind, it's just not to rush things.
Yeah. And so I think one of the things that keeps you going is your passion and your love. Absolutely. But if you can see that you're making gains, that is what pushes you forward. So right. I think it would be hard that if you were really drumming away at something for years and years and years and nothing was changing.
Sure.
Maybe you want to change course, right? Or change path. But if you're doing it, it's moving slower, but the needle is moving.
Right.
You're doing something right. You maybe just don't have the funds to accelerate to this ridiculous level, but on the flip side of that, maybe if you did have those funds, you would move too quickly and miss stuff that, you're gaining along the way. And
so true.
It has to be two-pronged, right? In order to stay passionate, to stay driven, you want to see that you're growing, your popularity is growing, people are liking your products, whatever it is.
Something, yeah.
If you're stagnant, that's... I don't know how anyone does that for a long time.
Yeah, definitely. And it, that's even its own conversation of knowing when to grit and when to quit. We often bring up that question for entrepreneurs, is when do you hustle things out and, never give up on it? And then when do you say, okay, actually giving up on this would be the right thing to do at this point, let's cut our losses.
Pivoting.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think it's the way that you look at it. It's not giving up. It's just evolving.
Yeah, totally.
It's like anything. It's if they continued to try the same thing over and over again in any field, in science, in fashion, and it wasn't working, they're like, okay, this isn't working. I need to change something about it. And that's why it's you have to be willing to pivot, to evolve, to realize that maybe your idea isn't as brilliant as you thought it was.
Yeah. And I even loved what you said about, you offering 20% of your company to this friend of yours, and they said no. I mean, a lot of entrepreneurs and a lot of people would take that as a failure and say, okay, what am I going to do now? But instead, what you did was you pivoted. You became more savvy. You became more creative, which benefited you in the long haul. And that's what I feel like, people have these misconceptions about failure. I feel like failure only truly becomes failure when you quit. If anything, that was just a learning lesson for you and has led to the successes that you have now.
Yeah, absolutely. But, there is not one person alive that doesn't experience failure in some way or another. And especially when in business, right? Or in anything that you're trying to push yourself and do. Yeah. It's part of growing. It's part of, life experience. The person who has no failures is the fool, right? That's the person who is sitting there. Everything's come to them easy. They don't understand how to change, how to maneuver. As much as we all don't want failure, it's a necessity for success.
Absolutely. Could not agree more. So I heard that you, in that brief, explanation before about how you started, you said you were a makeup artist, which I think is really, really interesting and cool. Of course you were. But I'm curious to know at what point in your journey that you as being a makeup artist, you had the idea for the balm, and I'm sure that came out of just an idea out of you just being in the industry and saying like, oh, I wish there was a product like that, let me make one. But I'm curious to know if there was like an aha moment for you where you had a vision of what the company is now at that point, and you were like, oh my God, I can like make this into something huge. Or was it kind of just like, let me try this, and then it evolved to what it was today? Like, what did that look like for you?
So I think when I started the balm, I always wanted, the dream was always to have this company that I didn't, that would be my life, that I would do full time.
Right.
What I didn't realize at that time is that it would be fragrance that would get me there, right? I thought it was going to be color cosmetics. I was a makeup artist. That's what I knew. I wore fragrance occasionally, but it was not something that I was like, had extreme passion for, or at least I thought at that time. So this is, I think, where sort of failure plays this incredible part, which you can't see at the time. So I had the color cosmetics, and we were doing fine. I never stopped doing makeup. I only really stopped doing makeup in 2018 when we launched into Sephora, because I literally was like, I can't keep both going. But 2008, the crash, there was a big crash, and we had about 50, 60, maybe even 100 retailers that were carrying our product. Everything, in that recession went out and under. We lost like 90% of our retailers. There was no real .com then. So if that was gone, it was gone. It had become sort of increasingly apparent to me that the education that people needed to describe this product to them, not like now, where if you had a cream blush, people are like, yeah, I know how to put it on. But then they were like, I don't understand. You use your hands to put this on. It's shiny. It's like a lip gloss, but it's not a lip gloss.
Right.
So I did not have the business knowledge nor the funds to educate people. So the product was amazing, but it just wasn't sticking. And then a friend of mine was like, have you ever thought of doing fragrance? I was wearing a fragrance that I had mixed myself, that I wanted to be my calling card as a makeup artist. And I was like, no, that's a crazy idea. I would never do that. I don't know anything about fragrance except for this one basically overly wined night mixing a fragrance with a girlfriend of mine and being like, this is a great fragrance.
Oh my God, I love that though.
That's it. That was the only exposure I had to fragrance. And I was like, all right, you know what? A friend of mine asked if she loved it. She was like, will you fill me like 5 bottles, stick it in a store? I said, yes, which she owned. I did that. It sold out in like a week. I made her more. And that's when I was like, I know how to put a product together. Could I make this into a product? It was really this, had the recession not happened, had my cheek and lip balm sold better than it did, it wouldn't have led me to where I am today. But I did makeup, as I said, right up until 2018. There was a part of me that was afraid to let go of that, I think, because it had supported me for so long.
Yeah.
But when it got to that point, when we launched into Sephora, I was like, I have to let go of it. My focus has to be here. I also was like, you know what? My passion isn't there anymore. And I felt bad taking up space in an industry which you have to have a lot of passion to do makeup as well, because you get a lot of no's. You're working with agencies. It's a lot of crazy stuff. So I was like, I need to leave that space for someone who's really passionate.
Oh, wow. I love that so much.
I'm really curious if you dealt with any imposter syndrome when you started, dealing into the fragrance side of things.
I have the worst imposter syndrome still now, every day. I'm like,
oh my God.
Is it just a fluke?
Yeah.
We're moving into a bigger space. So, we have every year or every 2 years that we've grown, we get bigger and bigger. So we started in my garage, then we moved to a storage unit, then we got our first 600 square feet, then 1,000, blah, 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 3,000, now 7,000. And I'm like, Jesus. Literally, I just had this conversation with the person who's basically like a CFO for us. I was like, I don't think I can do it. What if I can't? What if this is all just luck? It never goes away. And I realized that people at every level, 50 million, 100 million, everyone is like, oof, I don't know if I can pull this off.
Oh my gosh. Isn't that
which is crazy because this really is the natural culmination of your years and years and years of work, yet you're still like, seems like luck. I don't know.
Yeah, that's insane.
I mean, I think it's just, because you in your heart, you're like, I know I've done a lot to get here, and it's not like it's just been handed, but I think you're like, my God, could I, what am I doing? Or what is, when you get down to it, like, my God, are my products this good? Why do people love them? Why do people like me? Why do I have friends? You go down this whole rabbit hole.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I feel, and this is coming to me right in the moment, but I feel like a part of that reason is because we think of success and we think of like, our dream life and our dream careers. And we think it's like so almost far-fetched and so far away from us instead of like really embodying it. And it's like, there is no space between you and that dream career and that success story, it's like you are that. So it's hard to like bring that down and really embody it.
And I think as you make your little milestones, that you keep pushing that bar out, right? So, I remember being like, God, if we could just do like $10,000 a month in sales, that's all I would ever want. I wouldn't need anything else. I would be so happy. And then you get there and you're like, okay, I'm going to push it to 20 or to 30 or whatever. And that's what happens. I think and that is true entrepreneurial spirit. You're always trying to attain one more step, one more level. Get here. No, okay, great. We got there. Let's get here.
But as we push that bar forward, I think it's important for us to come closer to stepping into that like success story of ours, because you're like leveling up every time. You're like, ding, ding, ding. All right, I did that. Let's go to the next one.
Yeah. And there is that's, I think for me, I'm a heavy believer in gratitude, where that kind of comes into it. It's like, you don't have to give up on where you want to get to, but to enjoy, even for short moments where you are, is so important to having the energy to get to the next level. If you're constantly thinking, I'm never there, it never goes away. But yeah, I mean, it plays into insecurities, imposter syndrome, and I think we all think as our successes come, am I deserving of this? Did I do more than anybody else to get here? And for me, I always want to think I have worked my ass off to get what I want.
Yeah, that's so good. And I really love the bit that you included about gratitude too, because that's something that we are like really heavy, about preaching with our audiences. And also that fine line, between having the ambition, but also having the contentment and finding that synergy and that balance of, how much of both to have, because you want to push yourself and keep pushing the bar up, but you also want to give yourself a pat on the back and be so proud of where you are,
And understand that like you 5 years ago would be like screaming up and down if you could see where you were today. You know what I mean?
Yes. I have that quote like stuck on my I have a board where I put all of these quotes that range in all varying degrees, but it's that one which is, I remember wishing for the things that I have now.
Love it. Yep.
And it's so true. It's like, even where I am now is probably beyond my wildest dreams almost at that point. Like it was it felt like, it's like being like, I want to be a billionaire on the beach, right? That's what it felt so far away that I was like, okay, whatever, it's great. But it's really incredible moment. So gratitude, and not in that, it's such a punchline now to say that, but it does make a difference to, I think, your strength and the ability to keep pushing more.
Totally.
Massive. I mean, I feel like gratitude is truly like just the root. It's like the root of joy. You know what I mean? It's where you truly find joy, and rather than like these like small moments of, happiness, from the fleeting moments of happiness from, achieving a certain milestone, it's really just returning back to gratitude, because that's,
it's a deeper joy within you.
Yeah. But I am curious on how kind of getting into Sephora was for you, and what that time in your career was like, because I think that's so many entrepreneurs' dreams who are in the beauty space, the skincare wellness space. So I'd love to know just like what that, process looked like, if they contacted you, and how you kind of felt in that moment.
It was a very surreal moment. And they did contact us. So what's crazy is maybe 2 years prior, I had sent product in to be like, hey, we would love to be in Sephora, blah, 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 blah. And we didn't hear anything. And I mean, not even like a no, thanks so much. It was just like crickets. So they reached out to us. And I remember getting the email. I still have the letter that they sent us of acceptance that is stuck to my wall.
Oh, incredible.
And saying, hey, we're looking into clean fragrance. Would you be interested in sending your product in for submission? And I mean, of course, I was like, absolutely. You can have anything you want, whenever you want it. But had they accepted even in this moment, us 2 years earlier, now knowing Sephora like I do, we would have never been ready. It was just, But they approached us and it was an incredible day.
That's always so interesting to me because, we've had a lot of founders on who are now in like Whole Foods and Walmart and all of these different things who submitted their products. But it wasn't until, months or years later when the company reaches out to them. And I feel like that's such a common thing. Like, even like with modeling agencies, you can, submit your photos, not hear anything back. A month later, they'll reach out to you as if they've never even heard of you, seen you, and say, you're, a perfect fit. So I find that so interesting because it's almost like you weren't ready. And then as soon as the universe feels like you're in alignment, they're like, all right, now we're going to give you what you want. You know what I mean?
And it's so crazy that I also think that these big stores, they really, they have an idea of what's going on.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think that they see you. The submissions are great. That's why it's always good to be like, hey, remember me? And because I think that maybe you land on their desk and they look at it and they're like, oh, okay, I like this smell, but packaging not good or not ready or whatever, or they do a little research. They then continue, I think, to watch the brand and they watch and to see what happens. And what happened for us with Sephora was that clean became a thing. We were already clean in 2010. And even then people were like, does that mean you're natural? We were like, no, yes, we use naturals, but we're non-toxic more than anything, blah, blah, blah. And it sort of fell on deaf ears, really. It was not, people weren't accepting of it in a real way. And then the, genius of Sephora was they really put like that into the main, space. It was out in the stratosphere. People were like, okay, Sephora is talking about clean and they're defining it in the way that felt right for them. So people had a real understanding. They have the education, they have the knowledge. And that is where we were lucky enough to already be clean, have a great product within that space and, got swept up in their marketing genius.
So interesting how that works.
It is.
And what, the parallel would be for a beauty brand, because there's so many, even incredible beauty brands that you don't find in Sephora. And it's like, I feel like with the way the, e-commerce world has been going, Sephora is not even necessarily the end all be all. I'm sure you guys do great e-com as well.
Yeah. And I think for us, what is nice about having a big store like that recognize you is it gives credibility to your brand.
Absolutely.
Without a ton of funding, in the sense that a lot of these e-com brands who are doing very well in the beauty space, and rightly so, it is so expensive to get exposure that way. You can't just be like, I have a great product and then put up a beautiful website. You need to advertise. You need to do social media advertising. And you're talking hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars just to run ads and get it out there. Whereas with stores like Sephora, they are the platform, right? So people are going there looking for new products. They're in stores. They're like, oh, I want to see what Sephora is bringing out. What's the next big thing from Sephora? So I think for me, one of the factors in not having to have huge funding was that I had this wonderful partner that helped me get and spread the name of By Rosie Jane.
Right. And that, because that's an immediate trust factor, you know, and versus these e-com brands, which are spending hundreds of thousands of dollars in gaining trust and credibility. It's like, if you're in Sephora, there's your credibility.
It's kind of like it's like, yeah, it's like your friend's recommendation. Like, hey, he's a great
Totally,
person.
you know,
you need to be friends. You're like, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, when you see something in Sephora, you're like, oh, it's legit. It's been it's been vetted by the professionals. And not to mention, you know, like we all know the, you know, marketing theory or, you know, study that says when someone sees something 7 times, that's when they start building that reputation in their minds, and that's when they buy. You know, unknowingly, they're going to be seeing you in Sephora, in, you know, on Sephora's site, and on these different, you know, marketing materials
in the store.
You know, yeah, that's what I'm saying, and that's completely even unknowingly, and then they're going to be like, oh, I think I've seen that in Sephora, you know, and
yes,
even that is just such an incredible free level of marketing.
I mean, it really, I can't give, you know, praise them enough. They've been such wonderful partners for us. But I think we had to really go through our kind of, you know, college essentially to even be ready for a Sephora. And that is, you know, they are, you know, an incredibly big company, and they ask a lot. And we have to, you know, I had 8 years run up of building by Rosie Jane, and knowing what we were and knowing what we stood for and our ingredients and trial and error in product before that amazing opportunity came about. And without that, I don't think it would have, for me, maybe we would have gotten in, but we probably would have fallen by the wayside.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And you said, how long was the time between you guys submitting and then them reaching out to you? It was 2 years, right?
Yeah, like 2 or 3 years. But I don't actually think that us submitting had anything to do with when they finally came back.
Gotcha.
I think it was more of, we had submitted for fragrance, and they were probably like, yeah, you know, cute brand. I don't even know, right? And then when so skincare was really the first clean frontier for these big brands, and where people really, I think, jumped into the idea of taking care of your skin with these clean products, no toxins, right, hormone interrupters. And then it just felt like a natural step for them to be like, okay, we've got skincare, you know, color is next, and fragrance. Is there clean fragrance? Can we do it? If there is, people want it, they're interested in it. We had already proven, I think, through a bunch of our other retailers. So, you know, we're in Anthropologie before before Sephora. And we had about 500-600 independent boutiques throughout. So we had definitely got our feet wet. We knew out there was a market. We had a really loyal, wonderful community. So yeah, it just was this nice, incredible kind of jump when Sephora took on. And they watch it. I think they know what's coming into the market, and they love young brands.
Yeah. On your end, between the, you know, that 2-year difference, what do you feel like is the biggest reason why you weren't prepared or ready?
When we probably supply chain.
Okay.
You know, our filling, our you know, the
logistics,
infrastructure.
All of the really the unsexy stuff of business. That's right.
No, I love it. Listen, this is what we're here for. We're talking about the real shit.
That's it. You know, we were still operating in this tiny sort of like subspace. My office was at home. I had 2 team members. So it must have been actually earlier. It must have been 4 years maybe before we launched there. But yeah, there's no way our packaging was not up to par. One of the biggest things actually was probably our packaging. We were doing we had these wraps that would go around our bottle, and then we would tie them with string. And it was beautiful and it was wonderful. It was absolutely not scalable.
Yeah.
So that all changed independent of launching into a big store. Thank God. Because when it happened, we were like, yes, we can take this order.
Yeah, that is so cool.
And just out of curiosity, what does an order like that look like? Did you go into a region? Were you just full national with Sephora? I mean, how does that kind of look?
You know, I think it's different for every person that launches there. But for us, it was a big launch because they were really heavily leaning into this clean idea. So we launched with, I think like five or six other brands that were clean.
Cool.
And it was a big thing. So it was kind of like, saying, here, you're in 200 stores, go.
Wow. That's so exciting.
And it was amazing.
It's like getting the golden ticket.
It felt kind of unbelievable. Honestly, I remember opening the email where I kept expecting them to send me an email being like, thanks so much. It's been really great. And we love you. Maybe you want to try again next year. I was like doing a press junket and I was doing makeup on a client and I was sitting in my car and it was like 5:30 in the morning, right? Because you have to get up so bloody early for these press junkets. And I was sitting in my car in the parking lot and I saw that the email had come in and I was like, do I open it now? It's gonna and I was like, oh shit, I'm just gonna open it. And then it said, we are so thrilled to offer you a space in the clean fragrance and we would love to, talk next steps. And I was like, oh, this is the greatest moment of my life. And then I went in to do makeup and I was so happy, but no one in there would have even understood in the version of what that meant for me because it was just crazy. But
so
it was an incredibly special moment. But I think with all of these incredible opportunities that you're presented with, that in itself is just this little, it's like a golden kind of ticket. It's like this little bit that you're given. But if you don't work really hard around it and continue to push yourself and drive, it's going to go away. It's like anyone could open that first door for you.
That's when the work starts.
Yes. And that's it. It's like, you can't just be like, great. It's like winning the Oscar, right? I always feel like there are the people who won the Oscar and went on to do brilliant things and other people who won the Oscar and you never heard from them again.
Right.
It really is. It's like, you think that all of this work was the groundwork that you put in to now it opening up, and it's when you double down on everything.
Yeah. I can only imagine.
It gets scarier.
Yeah, and especially
more stakes.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, think of, you start building a team, right? There's livelihoods on the line. That's a lot. I mean, we can relate in a very small scale way right now, just having one full-time employee with our agency, because we have a creative agency. And even that has been so much responsibility to take on, and like, I can only imagine when you scale to a full-size team. And I'm actually curious, like for us, I think the hardest part about, growing our business has been dealing with people and hiring and firing and just growing a team in general and scaling in that way. I'm curious to know what you feel like the hardest hardships in your opinion and what those have looked like.
For me, because I dropped out of school in grade 10. Right. So I'm not a high school graduate and I'm not a college graduate. I never went to college. So
love that.
I have really learned the business as it grows. So for me, the hardest things are the logistics, the operational side, and figuring and team growth, which we spoke about, right? That and knowing when to bring in more people, when you're actually at your bandwidth and it's time to up, right? That for me is the most challenging, I think, or what feels like the most risky for me. Like I know beauty because I've been in the space since I was 19, whether in makeup or not. So product development, I feel like I work very instinctively like that when I'm like, gosh, I really wish I had a product that did this. Then I start researching, then I look around, then and that's how it's very organic experience for me. But the business side, which of course is a massive passion of mine, I am literally just free soloing.
learning by doing.
I love it.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, that's so validating because I feel like thinking about our entrepreneur growth, we are both college dropouts, so we can We can relate. And that is, we're so good creatively thinking. We're so good at even like creating streamlined processes and getting down to sustainable systems. Like we're getting really good at that stuff. But the hard stuff is like the logistics of literal business.
Or
like,
even just knowing what to do. Like we don't even know that there's steps that we're missing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think, what people go and get business degrees for is like the hard stuff that we just learn along the way.
Yeah.
Yes. And where I have been, lucky is that through, I don't even know what, like just the way the universe works, some really brilliant business minds have come into my life. Right.
Nice.
So, and people who really know stuff about numbers, where I can be like, I'm very instinctual. I really, there isn't many things that I'll be like, oh, I don't know what to do here. In the end, it might take me a minute to get there, but I have this incredible advice coming in from people who can look at a spreadsheet in a way that I'm just like, it may as well be written in Sanskrit. I have no idea what all of these things are, and they will sort of help me break it down and be like, okay, here's all the facts.
Yeah.
Now make your decision. So that is, if you can bring people into your life like that, and not full time, because as small businesses, I can't afford to pay these massive salaries of these really brilliant, well-educated, tons of experienced people. They will consult and do, smaller amounts, like maybe 5 hours a week. And you're like, hey, can you talk me through this? Or can you talk me through that? And that is where I feel that's, I think, where the most important lessons are, is to know what you don't know, right? To be not to be like, I'm going to do it all. I can do everything. It's like, okay, I know I'm smart. I know I got the chops to do it. But to be like, okay, I need advice here. I need help.
Yeah. I love that. Sorry to interrupt you. I love that so much. And I almost feel like that is the exact answer I was like looking for and like needed to hear. No, really, in a really weird way. Like that was extremely validating, because we also have recently brought on a business consultant, and it's so true. It's like, you don't know what you don't know. And that's the scary part.
And I'm sure you can relate. He'll explain something and we'll be like, okay, now explain it to us like we're 5. Because even what you just said, I know you're breaking it down. We need it broken down even more, because we just have no idea.
I'm exactly the same. When I first started getting into like the whole like social media, and we were like looking at the data on our website, and this person comes in here and this is how they click here, and all of these acronyms for everything. I was like, I have no idea what anyone is talking about. But if you give it to me in real words and the real terminology of just like layman's terms, I think I can make a decision based on that. But
And it speaks volumes about, just hiring out and delegating to your weaknesses, like, you're so good at what you're good at, and you know what you're good at. And that's such an important part of everyone's, own personal journeys, is really recognizing your strengths and your weaknesses, and then getting help in those areas. I think that's a hard lesson we learned.
And I think coupled with that, anytime I have thrown money at something or said to someone, oh, I don't know what I'm doing, you just handle it, it's a disaster.
Right.
So it's like, you have to bring these people in as collaborators. When it's your own company, when it's your own vision, no one is ever, there is never one situation where, people are like, I can, I'm a publicist, I can get 10 trillion things for you, blah, 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 blah. This is what I've done for this company. This is what I've done for that company. What you come to learn is that the reason that they were able to do that with that company is because that company had so much invested and spent so much time with this person, helping them get the PR, the ROAS, whatever it is.
Yeah.
There's no, silver bullet. You have to bring them on as collaborators and learn from them, and never let go of that. Like, no, I need you to work with me on this, because no one is ever going to love your company as much as you do.
And not to mention, like, it's unfortunate, but just being on top of people and making sure that they're not cutting corners. And because I feel like when you put things in people's hands and you trust them to kind of do it their way, and they come with all these flashy terms and all this flashy work, but then you know, it's a month later and you're like, hey, what happened to that? And where is what we agreed upon?
Also, you want to use it as kind of like your own college where you're like, all right,
yeah,
you're the expert. I want to know why you're getting to that point.
Yeah.
Like, why do you think that that's happening? Tell me your thought process so that, and then you will even find in areas that you're not experts, you'll be like, gosh, that goes against everything that I would just naturally think.
Yes.
So whilst you're saying this is best practices and this is what we normally do, if there's something inside of you that's like, that just doesn't feel right, you have to go with that, because otherwise nothing would ever change. If everyone's like, well, this is the way we've always done it, you're like, oh, well.
But that's not the way I do it.
Yeah, I want to know why you've always done it that way. And then I'm going to tell you why I think it needs to change.
Yeah, so interesting.
And, you know, given that we do have this digital creative agency, we run into this all the time because Olivia and I have both worked in the social media and the influencer space for close to 6 or 7 years now. And anytime we get on a call with a client who isn't social media savvy, we get on a call and they're like, well, this is how we've been doing it. And what we do is we explain to them exactly why that's wrong. And it's because we want to educate. It's not just, hey, you know what, give us the $2,000 a month and we'll figure it out. It's like, no, this, you know, we also want to equip them with the tools that they need to understand why what they're doing is either successful or not successful. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And again, you would know that then even more. It's like when you work with a brand on all of these things, if they were just like, great, have at it and walked away, you'd be like, no. But we need your input as well.
Right.
To help you and aid you with these tools. But your part as the brand is your creative, vision, your voice, your, identity. What are your pillars? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. You got to give us something to work with. It just goes to show it truly is like a partnership. And I really love that you said like to take these people in and learn from them, because then like it's free mentorship. And you're killing two birds with one stone, like they're helping you get the job done and you're educating yourself in the process. And it just is going to make you a more well-rounded entrepreneur and businesswoman. I love that.
Partner.
Yeah. So good. I feel like we covered a lot of good ground here. No, I really am so happy with it. Like, this was just a great mentorship session.
Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you. I love talking. I really do love business. It's like clean fragrance and clean beauty and, all of the things that we do with By Rosie Jane, which is all about creating these sort of intentional moments, right, throughout your day by choosing great products. But one of my great passions is business. I love it. I love the problem solvings of it. And I think you have to have both, or at least you have to have a partner where one, is the creative and one is the business. You have to have that, the combination of the two, because one just doesn't exist without the other one.
Yeah. So true.
And, I would love for you to wrap us up with telling us a little bit more just about what By Rosie Jane currently has going on, what the future holds for you guys.
What's in the works? We might know.
Yeah. Well, so we will be launching our 8th fragrance, which is very exciting. Coming up, right? Just September 28th is our launch date.
Exciting.
And our deodorant, which is literally the most exciting thing that's probably happened to me
and just won a very amazing award.
It did. It won Best of Beauty from Allure, which is amazing. Yay. I know. It was another one of those moments where I was like, are you
unreal.
Kidding me?
Yeah, like surreal. Oh, congratulations. I mean, what an honor.
Thank you. And for us, everything I do with By Rosie Jane is, like I said, it's about creating these incredible products that are small and they feel like you can add them to your life and they're just going to make a huge difference.
Yeah.
But body and fragrance, all of these products are really where my passion lies. I love personal care products. And I think for a long time, they've been sort of left behind as like, it's on just the back burner. Deodorant. Yeah, it's like, these aren't the products that make us feel special. It's the perfume and it's skincare. But these are like the founding beauty products, right? Yeah. This is the ones that function our life. So that for me is a really important part of our growth in By Rosie Jane and a lot of what we have coming in 2023.
So cool.
I love that. And so obviously we know that you guys are available on Sephora. Where else can people find the By Rosie Jane products?
So on byrosiejane.com, of course. And then we just launched at Nordstrom. Yay! Nordstrom.com and Anthropologie. And then we also have an incredible amount of independent boutiques kind of scattered throughout the country, normally in areas which feel a bit more remote and maybe are not next to a big mall or something like that. Really beautiful, curated local boutiques.
And do you guys have a store locator on your site?
We do.
Okay, so yeah, people, I've actually started using store locators, and it's been a game changer.
Is that a pro tip?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's actually
I
like,
feel like it's such a 90s move, even though we're like 2000.
it's so smart though.
Now we're coming out of what has been this crazy pandemic. We can go to stores again, which is really
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm personally, I know with fragrance, I love to try before I buy, so popping into the store is like the best thing for me and seeing how it wears. But that's so exciting.
So cool. Thank you so much for your time with us. I can't tell you how much we really appreciate it and have loved this conversation.
Oh, well, thank you. I really love being on here, and thank you for having me.
Of course. If people and our audience want to follow you and follow your journey, where can they find you at?
So our Instagram is at @byRosieJane. We have TikTok, but dude, I'm a 46-year-old woman.
Hey, we have a creative agency.
Every time I do anything,
do TikTok. We do TikTok.
Like young, gorgeous girls. I'm like a mother of 3, and every time I do it, my 15-year-old is like, "You're so embarrassing."
Oh my God, no. Honestly, I feel like your generation does even better on TikTok.
We had the founder
I swear.
You know Poppy, the probiotic gut health drink?
Yeah.
Allison.
We had Allison on the podcast, and her company blew up on TikTok because she was the founder speaking. So if you ever want some, if you ever want some little tips, free tips, we got you.
Have your people call our people.
We do TikTok, so we got you.
Oh my gosh, it's such a crazy zone for me. I always feel like I have no idea what I'm doing on it.
I mean, it's chaos. It really is, but that's why we handle it.
But all of our handles are by Rosie Jane. It's all the same.
Okay,
perfect.
awesome.
Guys, if you have enjoyed this episode as much as we have, please take a screenshot, share this on your stories. We're finally back from our season hiatus, and we would appreciate the support. Please go follow Rosie at @ByRosieJane, and we hope you guys have an amazing week. Thank you so much, Rosie, for joining us. It's been truly such a pleasure.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. I love your posing, by the way. I was like, oh my gosh, she's posing for a screenshot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. Most people are just listening so they can't hear it.
Yeah.
So they can't hear our posing, but we do it anyway.
Pose.
All right, you guys have a great week, and we'll see you next week for another one. Bye.